number 3, consistent theming and branding, keeping it all the same. So like I said before, our goal when we're building out a landing page is to create trust, right? You want the user to feel trust when they view your landing page and view your product. The strongest way to do that is to be consistent on everything. Consistent on your theming and consistent on your branding. You should use the same styling throughout its entirety. So use the same fonts, use the same brand colors, use the same image styles. So for example, on this graphic right here, the text is written on a white background, right, with a certain font. So all the other images, if there's any other annotated graphics on that page, they should follow this sort of style. It shouldn't be something random that's out of place. Everything should feel like it's all in the same ecosystem. Like I said, I'm going to keep things consistent, like fonts, spacing and sizing, colors, and image style. So as you can see on this landing page on the right here, the fonts are consistent, right? The headlines are all big, bold, all caps like that. The body text is all the same. I'm using similar colors throughout this all. Gray,
sorry,
black, gray.
Just pause there for a second, because your slide didn't move to the next image. So you're still on the annotate slide on big markers. So could you just can everyone see the slide moving, guys?
Yeah, I'm moving it right now.
Does everyone see slides moving forwards and backwards? Yeah. Okay. People are saying it's all good. All right. Cool. We can move forwards. I think it's just on my screen for some reason.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Take it away, Neil.
Oh yeah. So back to this landing page right here. Like, kind of just look at it and absorb what I'm doing there, right? How I'm keeping things consistent and how I'm creating feelings of trust like that. Like, as you can see, there's an American flag behind this the second product image here. Same type of feeling in this third section. This red color is prevalent throughout the page. The call to action colors are all green. The images are all in the same style. Like, they're all like 3D render style images. And yeah, kind of try to keep things as consistent as possible. Don't create things that are out of the blue, that almost like an elephant in the room, right? You want everything to be exactly the same and in the same ecosystem that creates trust. So regarding fonts, I want you guys to use a maximum of 2 fonts on your pages. I myself prefer to use only 1 font, but 2 fonts can be done if they're done right. Like, you need to make sure that these fonts aren't extremely different, and if they are very different, that they complement each other rather than take away from one another. That's kind of a hard thing to grasp, but after time with experience, you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about there. So if you don't have that kind of experience, try to use only 1 font. And to discern them from the headline and the body paragraph, just make sure that the headline is bolded, much bigger, just like how you see on this text right here. The headline here is much bigger and bolded. The body text is much smaller and not bolded. And if I wanted to take this even further, I would make this body text gray rather than full white, which increased more contrast from the headline itself. So here's an example of using 1 font only. Just like I just explained right there, this is the same exact font for the headline and the body paragraph, but it looks visually different because of how it's styled, right? The headline is much bolder and darker than the body paragraph itself. And now here's an example of using 2 fonts on 1 page. So this client, they had wanted a more kind of like a rugged feel for the page, just because it's targeted at veterans. So we chose like this font that has I think it's called a distressed font. And although it's very different from the body paragraph text, which is just a basic font, that's a clean basic font, as long as you do it correctly and use it in the right places, you can make them complement each other. As you can see, the button text does not have that big headline font on it. It has the body paragraph font on it, just because that looks much cleaner, right? So you got to kind of play around and figure out, if you're using 2 fonts, how you use these fonts to complement each other rather than take away from each other. So now, consistency through spacing. This is another huge thing. This is like one of the things I focus on almost the most. It's keeping your spacing between elements consistent and in your designs. Like I said again, and I'm going to keep drilling this in, you want to create trust in your customers. So you want to be consistent in how you present yourself to them. A great way to establish consistency and trust is through your spacing being consistent on the landing page. So tips to create consistency through spacing. Make sure that the spacing is exactly the same between your headlines and text in all your sections. The spacing between each different section is the same in all your sections. The spacing between elements on the page is the same in all your sections. And the padding of your buttons. So for example, these are 2 buttons right here, right? They both have the same exact padding on them, which makes them look consistent. So always make sure you're kind of taking note of that and keeping that at the top of mind, that you want to keep all your spacing consistent. Let me show you an example. So this is a landing page for ClickUp. In case you don't know, it's like a project management tool, I'd say. It's a really good project management tool. If you don't use it, I would check it out. But as you can see, these red boxes I added are the spacing between each of their sections. So you can see I literally like drew one box and I just copy and pasted it over. These are all the exact same size boxes. You can see that all the spacing between each section is exactly the same. And that makes it seem trustable, right? There's a lot of fine-tuned effort and meticulous care put on this landing page. So they must care that much about their product too, right? Which makes it worth buying for me. So all the spacing consistent between section after section. And that is through spacing, right? That is consistency through spacing. You can kind of see the spacing is the same like through headlines and text. Yeah, there's a lot of like little micro spacing going on here that I can't like draw little red boxes for every single one, but keep it consistent. That's the point. Keep your spacing consistent. Now, creating consistency through sizes. You need to make sure that all your headlines are the same size. So you can see here, actually, I'll show you right here. All your headlines are the same size. All your sub-headlines are the same size. And this is disregarding your header. Like I said, your header should always have the biggest font for the headline. But all the headlines after that, they should have the same size. All the sub-headlines should have the same size. Body text should all be the same size. And all your buttons should be the same size. That's just consistency, right? You're showing up consistent. Every single element is exactly the same as its predecessor. So you see this is Slack's landing page right here. I'm sure you guys know Slack. I don't even need to explain that. Team messaging platform. You can see that all these headlines are the exact same size, right? That, again, makes it seem trustable. There was meticulous care put into this, make sure that everything is exactly the same. That way you create more trust in the user. So consistency through spacing, consistency through sizing, and you'll be good to go from there. The last thing is consistency through colors, right? Choose a color palette from the start when you're designing landing page and stick with it. Don't just stick in random colors down the line. Stick with the color palette you choose, because if you stick with it, it will always turn out much cleaner than if you just keep dropping in random colors. This creates like a cohesive image for the landing page. So you can see on this page on the left here, I'm very consistent with the color red. Like the color red is prevalent throughout this. It's black, white, red. It makes it look very branded and it makes it look professional. It doesn't look like some kid, like I said, again, 15-year-old kid sitting behind a laptop built this page out and is trying to scam me for my money. It looks like there's actual care put into this, and that if I buy this product, I'm going to get what I paid for. Keep your colors consistent. Now, last is consistency of images. Consistency of the type of images you're putting on the page. Just like I showed you in that earlier example, this one right here, the image style is all consistent, right? I want to just illustrate that example once again through this page right here. It was for Java Press, which is a coffee e-commerce company. We built out this landing page for their Coffee of the Month subscription. So you can see the images are all realistic. They're all like as if it's a real thing. There's nothing like no little silly or no like animated icons, this, that. Like all the images are in a very similar style. And again, that creates trust in the page, right? You can see these are all real images, all similar kind of colors going on in the images. Sorry, I'm just gonna let it scroll through. And yeah, like you guys saw, all the images are very consistent. This page seems very trustable because of how it was built out. So that's something definitely to keep in mind. You never want to be just sticking random things in. Alina said the slide didn't move. Okay, I'm just going to continue. So consistency of images, consistency of spacing, consistency of sizing, and consistency of colors, right?